It's time for another edition of a video analysis. It's going to dive into some of the parameters here. We are talking about just this continued warm stretch. We were wrong. We were just flat out wrong about there being some more prolonged shots of cold air. We really thought everything was lining up to about a 3-week period where there would be similarities to what we had in January. Not as potent, but sustained active weather and several cold shots, not getting well above average for too long, and then it was going to get warm. And then we were like, okay, maybe that's just delayed. Maybe a week, maybe a week and a half, and it's muted. And that's kind of the progression of our thoughts. But here we are, it's late February. We can clearly see that it's not happening, and it's just going to be not only just mild, but back to super duper warm. And today is not going to be any exception, as we have 70s and widespread 60s across a big deal portion of the Ohio Valley. So yeah, it happens. A lot of times I think meteorologists get a bad rap, even in the medium to long range when it comes to accuracy, where the general ideas are there and you just have to kind of pay attention to those trends. But this was wrong. This was bad. Not going to lie on that. And there had to be a lot of things that went wrong for us to have the confidence that we did to be so wrong. I mean, we really thought a lot of things were going to line up, and typically when those do, you don't just get cold, but you get some pretty potent winter shots. But it happens. It really does. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you humbled. It's a mix of an art and a science. Let's get to some of the drivers as to why. We'll start things off here radar-wise and zoom on in and slowly zoom in here and talk about the current system that's across the area. It's pretty active out west. There's not hardly anything across the east. Lots of high pressure is in control, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit more abruptly, and there you go. You can see some hit and miss scattered showers and a decent amount of cloud cover moving off of Lake Michigan through portions of Indiana and Michigan. Those scattered showers will build more as we go into tomorrow. This will be kind of a developing system that you'll see at that point. As far as the overall circulation in the atmosphere, this is the jet stream winds, and this area here is that polar jet stream, and it's going to slide into the west, and you are going to see some colder air at times. Just a brief shot though. We get these 2-day shots of true cold air, and it's nothing super impressive, and that's about it. So we tap into that. This is a very active subtropical jet. Look at that. That's pretty strong stuff. And this kind of disconnects from it. So the polar jet then lifts way off towards the north. That Arctic air is just not going to be trapped anywhere near the United States, and this pushes in the warm air, and it's allowed to flow everywhere where that ridging is, and you can just see it pushes way to the north. It's a big ridge. So we get these multiple day stretches of very mild air, and then we get the occasional ejection of more of the cold source, and that allows for storms to form in pockets at times as we go throughout the next 10 days or so. So you'll notice here kind of the temperatures, the upper level pattern, that we have these brief little cooler air patterns across portions of the east, but it's very mild across much of the middle portion of the country into the south at times. And then occasionally we don't just go mild, we build in well above average warmth into the Great Lakes, into the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, into the Northeast. And there is cold air, but it's muted. It's not extremely cold, and it just doesn't want to come south too much. But that last scan there, that is some impressive cold that does push in behind a warm system. So relatively speaking, you get that big contrast, and that's going to form likely strong storms, likely snow on the west side. But then after that, this is not this coming Monday, this is the Monday after, you just get back into well above average temperatures. It kind of is what it is. These are the temperatures ranking on warmest of ever since the 1870s, 1880s, 1890, when exactly the record started there. So 1800s, over 100 years, about 130 years or so of records actually. Oh my, look at that area of 1s and 2s. So we're talking warmest winter on record. No, we're not talking about 4000 BC. I get it, right? But in all of our lifetimes, in all of our parents' lifetimes, in all of our grandparents' lifetimes, pretty much, realistically, It's the warmest, or the top 5 warmest across a pretty big deal. Your top 10 warmest across maybe a fifth of the country? That's pretty impressive. Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. Let's future radar you, take you through the next few to several days here. This is going to be that system swinging on through, bringing those scattered showers throughout the day today. It's with a low, it's with a little trough. It brings in showers and thunderstorms with this warm front tomorrow. Yeah, thunderstorms into Ohio, Indiana. I could see rotation with these storms. Lots of heavy rain. That warm front could mean business. There could be enough interaction there. Remember, with the warming climate and just this warmer pattern in general, you don't even have to worry about the climate as a whole. In the end of February, we're maybe more treating it like the middle of March. So you get severe weather up further north at times. It's possible. There's the low. That's going to mean business. That's going to move across the Ohio Valley into the northeast. Notice there is a little blue shading across portions of New England. That could be an actual little wet snow system into your Friday. Reinforcing shot of cold air with that cold front does dump in cold air. Not anything extreme, but it will be wintry for a couple of days. And then as that system moves off towards the east, you can see a little trough, maybe a tiny bit of lake enhancement, very minimal accumulation expected off the Great Lakes. And then after Saturday, you start warming things back up. So yes, there is an outlook as we go throughout late today and then into tomorrow as well for the chance for some strong thunderstorms. I want to take a look at the outlook for tomorrow as well. Let me bring that up for you. It's definitely interesting, right? So that's the outlook for tomorrow, not for today. That is pretty much over the same area, but a little better outlook as we go throughout portions of today for sure. That's kind of what we're planning on. So the chances also are there for next week. When I told you about that big system that's going to be moving in with all the warm air and then the cold air clashing and form a decent storm, there'll be some snow. These are severe weather chances there probability-wise for next week. No, it's not going to blow your socks off, but yeah, there's some spots of 50, 60, 70% chances based on similar setups to produce some severe weather in the middle portion of the country, maybe into some spots closer in towards like the Arklatex and in towards Missouri or Illinois. I mean, maybe even a couple storms do get into Indiana, Michigan, Ohio. We'll see. Keep an eye on it. So that's the look there. We just showed you that. Let's fast forward. Rainfall amounts. So we got the one system here, and then we got the additional system coming in. But this is going to drop a half inch to maybe an inch of rain where you have pockets of those actual thunderstorms. And then there'll be another system or so that's going to move through as we go in towards early next week. So there will be pockets of 1 to 2 inches of rain likely in spots. And then through the middle portion next week with that big system that I was talking about, that could be another big batch of rain. So there's about 3 systems within the next 7 days or so, and yes, a couple of those could be more on the potent side, and it's going to be above average rainfall. And soil moisture wise, we could use it in spots of the Midwest and Great Lakes there as well because of not too much in the way of snow this winter. How much snow throughout the next few days? We do get a little bit into New England with the first system. There'll be some for sure out west, but it's really not that much in the next week. Anything else? Not really anything at all. Precipitation trend, though, it does get a little bit above average, again, in spots around the Great Lakes, into the Ohio Valley slightly. So that'll be something to kind of keep an eye on as well. Temperatures, as we go throughout the day today, that's nice and mild, a lot of 50s and 60s. You go through Thursday, you're back into the 60s likely in a lot of spots from probably Omaha into St. Louis, and then warmer off towards the southwest. Even though it's not warm, I mean, you're still well into the 40s across the northeast. You'll be well into the 40s and 50s for sure into like Columbus and down into the Tennessee Valley. Then there comes the cold air as we go throughout Friday, and true winter cold, especially into New England, into the northern Great Lakes. As you go into your Sunday, and then we rebound. There comes the warm air again, and temperatures will be right back above average as we go throughout Monday into your Tuesday. So overall, over the next 6 to 10 days, when we go past this period, is it going to cool off? No. I mean, we're looking at anything, again, just maybe a 2-day shot of average or slightly below average air. And then it's not just mild, it's well above average. That's the pattern. That's what's going to happen. Does that mean that we're going to be baking in March, all March long? Not necessarily. I think honestly, and this is so unfortunate because I think people would rather just get winter over with, but sometimes in these patterns that transition out of the stronger El Nino, we can kind of see a prolonged frost chance period or prolonged shots of cold air. It's just kind of those nuisance periods where sometimes it feels like March or April in January and February. And yeah, of course it warms up, but you'll still have those shots of March and April even into May at times. So keep an eye on it, but that's the scoop. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Thanks so much.